Why are we acting like being approached is some kind of crime now? Like, relax. If a guy comes up to you and says, "Hey, I think you're cute," or asks if you're single, that's not harassment.
I think from our perspective, there's been a massive decline in men approaching women.
Men saying, "I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys."
Women are going crazy, guys, because they can't figure out why you're not going up to them anymore. Guys' eyes are wide open now.
Something changed, and it wasn't gradual. It happened fast, faster than most people realize. Because the guys who used to walk up to a woman in a coffee shop, at the gym, at a bookstore, in a grocery aisle, they stopped. Not because they're scared, not because they lost confidence, not because they don't find women attractive. They stopped because they ran the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Today we're breaking down exactly why men have stopped approaching. We're looking at what women are saying about it online. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this shift is permanent and what it actually means for you. Let's get into it.
Why are we acting like being approached is some kind of crime now? Like, relax. If a guy comes up to you and says, "Hey, I think you're cute," or asks if you're single, that's not harassment. That's a human being trying. And I'm not saying every approach is okay. No, some men are creepy. Some situations are uncomfortable. I get that. But let's be honest for a second. Some of you are turning the most normal interaction into, "Oh my God, he approached me. I was just sitting there." Okay. And like, what do you want him to do? Send you a calendar invite? If you're not interested, just say no and move on. You don't need to act like you were just attacked. Because you know what it's giving? It's giving ego. Acting like you're above basic human interaction, I don't think that's attractive at all. And men, since you're not off the hook either, if someone rejects you, take it and go. Stop getting bitter. Stop making comments. Stop acting like she missed out. She was just not interested. That's it. Rejection is part of the game. If you can't handle that, don't play. Because this whole dynamic right now is just so weird. One side is overreacting for validation, the other one is taking rejection personally, and both are screaming emotional immaturity. Like, can we bring back normal human behavior? Respectful approach, clear rejection, everyone moves on with their life. That's it. It's not that deep.
Let me give you a picture of what's actually happening out here. A survey published in 2024 by the Survey Center on American Life found that 63% of men under 30 reported being single, compared to just 34% of women the same age. That's nearly double. That gap doesn't exist because there aren't enough women. The population is roughly 50-50. That gap exists because men and women are making radically different choices, and men are increasingly choosing to not engage at all. Now here's where it gets interesting. The standard narrative, the one you'll hear on daytime TV and pop psychology articles and from influencers, is that men have some kind of problem. They're scared of rejection, they're emotionally unavailable, they need to do the work. Over the last decade, and especially the last 5 years, like approaching a woman you don't know has become culturally a minefield. Men have been publicly humiliated on social media for perfectly normal approaches, filmed without consent, called creeps for making eye contact in the wrong context, labeled predators for asking for a number, and men noticed, not loudly, not all at once, but quietly the way a market corrects. One guy gets burned, tells his friends, and they adjust their behavior. Multiply that by millions over several years, and you get exactly what we're seeing now. A generation of men who decided the approach just isn't worth it.
Women are going crazy, guys, because they can't figure out why you're not going up to them anymore. Guys' eyes are wide open now, right? They're wide open. And they're starting to say, well, you know what? I used to think it was worth it for me to just put myself out there all the time because, you know, I wanted to take a girl out. But now I'm realizing you got the gold diggers, you got the women who want the free meal, you got the women who expect me to do everything, but in return want to do nothing. You got women who are saying, what do you bring to the table? But when you ask them, they get insulted. You got women who don't. You can't even talk. You talk about, you know, oh, yeah, you had 400 boyfriends before and you slept with all of them. You know, they get defensive. Maybe I just don't need to pursue women right now at all. That's what's happening.
Men don't approach women anymore. And the real reason why they don't approach women anymore is not because you're successful. It's not because you're beautiful. They don't approach women anymore because these new day women, these modern day women are highly disrespectful. These women are so confused, right? They're so confused. They swear that nobody hollers at them. Nobody approaches them. No one pursues them. But why would a man pursue you when as soon as he even works up the nerve to say something to you, you reject him. You belittle him. You tell him that he's thirsty. You tell him that he's pressed. You tell him that he doesn't have enough money. You tell him that he does not qualify for your time or your attention. And then you wonder why they don't want to deal with you. This is why they're not approaching you. And this is the crazy part. You got a lot of women that are so stuck in time, right? They're not getting approached. No one wants to deal with them, right? And they won't even switch it up enough to even go at a man because they're scared of rejection. And I said it, men take rejection way better than women do. Women are delusional. Most women want to be lied to. A woman will put on an outfit knowing that she gained 30 pounds and have the nerve to come in front of you and say, do I look fat in this outfit? And if you say yes, you're the bad guy. We still love women. We don't mind pursuing women, but no one is chasing nobody, especially when it's not appreciated. Am I lying?
The same cultural environment that produced videos of women filming men who approach them, laughing at them, posting them, and calling them weird, is the same environment producing this complaint right now. Those are not separate phenomena. They are cause and effect. Men aren't psychic, but they are observant. When you watch enough videos of guys getting publicly destroyed for a cold approach, you don't need to be told, don't approach. You just don't. That's not weakness. That's pattern recognition. And men are very good at it.
I wish we'd go back to when guys are just always walking up to you when you're out. Like, could you imagine? Oh my gosh, if you're like at the grocery store, at the gym, they're like, hi, I just couldn't help but say you're so beautiful. Like, I'd love to take you out sometime if you're single. If they were like good looking, I'm like, can we go back to those times? But because like society has more and more changed women to be like the chasers or like things like this, it's like making a lot of men be like, oh, I can just sit.
But half of y'all have a funky ass attitude when somebody do approach you. If you feel that he doesn't make enough money or he not hopping out a Lambo or a Ferrari or some type of luxury car, you turned off. And if he say something to you, you got a funky ass attitude instead of just being nice and saying you're not interested, instead making him feel this big. So I don't blame men. I wouldn't walk up to no female either, because the way y'all be doing, like, who wants to be treated like shit when they ain't did nothing to you and they just being nice? It's okay not to be attracted to a person, but at the same time, like, what's wrong with being nice? Like, nobody ain't did nothing to you. You act like he disgusts you. That's the problem. And then you right, a lot of women are definitely the chasers, but come on now. Y'all know y'all be having them funky ass attitudes. Y'all don't even be wanting nobody to say something to y'all in the damn gym. Like, be for real.
There's a difference between men not approaching because they're beaten down and men not approaching because they've leveled up. The man who has built something, a business, a body, a skill set, a social circle, that man has options. He doesn't need to approach a stranger cold because his life naturally creates contexts where connections happen on his terms. He gets introduced, he gets reached out to. He doesn't need to run cold approaches because he's built a warm world around himself. That's not fear, that's leverage. And here's the kicker. The men who have built that kind of life, they're not complaining online. They're not in comment sections. They're not making videos about it. They're just living quietly. Well,
I think the men these days are being bred a little bit different. I think they're not as willing to be rejected or take a risk. And so I think that shows up when you're out and about. Like, men aren't really approaching as much as they used to.
Why do you think they're not approaching women in the same way?
Well, women made a global witch hunt against flirting, and now they're mad that men aren't flirting with them.
That's right. It's kind of like how they killed chivalry.
The whole Me Too movement caused this.
Okay.
That's literally what caused it, especially for the younger guys. Maybe the older gentlemen, like they weren't really affected by it too much, and they still approach. They're used to it. They still the ones who are single, maybe.
Yes.
Who aren't locked down. But younger guys, like I get these kind of younger guys, like telling me they're terrified of going up and talking to a woman. I literally made a post on Twitter yesterday. It was about like, what's the worst thing that can happen if you go up and say hi to a girl? You're not going to regret it. And I had like a couple of dudes like slide in the comments and be like, I got accused of by just saying hi to a chick on campus.
Modern men have gotten too comfortable. As a result, many of you are settling for average jobs, average women, and average lives. And this is happening because you choose entertainment instead of education every night. Make excuses instead of progress. You let emotions dictate your actions. Here's what winners do instead. Embrace discomfort as the path to strength. Make decisions based on future rewards, not present comfort. They build discipline that powers through when motivation fades. Harsh reality is that this generation has been softened by convenience. Taught to seek comfort instead of greatness. Remember, your comfort zone isn't protection, it's a prison. Men in the top 1% get there by consistently taking risks and conquering challenges.
The approach hasn't stopped because men became less masculine. The approach stopped because men became more selective about where they invest. That's a distinction that most mainstream takes on this completely miss. Yeah.
I think from our perspective, there's been a massive decline in men approaching women. A night out, like guys, their focus isn't on women until the end of the night when they're trying to find a woman to take home.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah.
Like they're not really interested in
Right.
even just
On-
like a little
beyond
bit of
the night.
rapport. Yeah. Like to
Yeah.
see if you vibe, if you've got the same personality, if you've got the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
Even if you're looking at guys, they won't come up. They don't want to get rejected, or they just care more about going to do lines in the bathroom. Like it's it's
Yeah.
it's a
That's definitely
multitude of
essence of it.
things.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single guys. They're almost like happy about the fact that they're gonna make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
For generations, male pursuit was the engine that drove the dating market. Men approached, men asked out. Men planned dates, men proposed. That was the structure. Whether you agreed with it or not, it functioned. And then, starting in the early 2000s, the cultural conversation shifted. Men were told in schools, in media, and in workplaces that the traditional masculine approach to dating was problematic. And men, being rational, adjusted.
The reason guys stop coming up to you is because women, you like decayed and turned into these monsters where you're just ingrates, you've got inflated egos, you're treating men like crap, you're out for attention and then to just reject them. So they're done with your game, right? And don't compare yourself to some 90s and 2000 chicks because they were different. They were cut different. They weren't playing your nasty games. So you want guys to be different? Be different. Start being freaking respectful. You know, go back and talk to some women in my age bracket that were, you know, out in the 90s and 2000s and talk to us about how we were behaving and what the real deal was and why we were getting different results than you are.
What's your type? Can you approach me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
that's so
approach
true.
me?
I'll give you eye contact, but it's just like I gave you 3 seconds, maybe half a second, but like you should know that that's enough. Like that is the welcome in. Like that should be it. That's just like if I look at you and I look away and like you can't smile too. You have to like make sure you don't really smile too much, because then that's cringe. It's like you might as well be approaching them. If now you walk up to me, it's like okay, you passed the first test. If your ass stands there for another half an hour.
A decade into that experiment, the results are in. Dating app revenue is flattening. Marriage rates are at record lows. Birth rates across the developed world are in free fall. Male social withdrawal is at an all-time high. And women, the same cultural voices that push this shift, are now asking where all the men went. This is not a coincidence. This is a system producing its logical output.
I'm seeing on social media a lot these days of Australian girls talking about how modern day Australian guys aren't approaching them anymore.
I think chivalry is very quickly dying. Guys are sort of forgetting the old school mentality. And I think if you see a girl out and you're both making eye contact and there's some smiles, if she hasn't approached you within the first like 15, 20 minutes, go up to her, because that's her way of saying, I'm not doing that. Like, you come up to me, you hit on me. 9 times out of 10, a girl's not making consistent eye contact with you if she's not interested in you. And same is said for if a girl isn't interested. If you're looking for eye contact and she's not looking at you, she's not interested.
So I think a big thing here is picking up the signs.
Yeah.
You need to be aware of what's happening around you.
Why are men not approaching women in person anymore?
Well, we live in a digital world, right? You're watching this on the phone, you communicate digitally. I work in sales, I sell on Zoom, I rarely meet people in person. So it has to do a little bit with that, but a lot of the blame comes on you ladies, not giving any signal to men to approach them, all right? Something happened with COVID where everyone kind of went inside their turtle shell, and I think that women were affected by this greater than men, believe it or not, because they are so shy to put themselves out there. Even making eye contact with a guy that they think is attractive gives them a panic attack, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put a lot of the blame back on you ladies.
I'm flipping it back on men. I think y'all got intimidated and shy, and women are just more willing to post risque photos online, which gives y'all more of an in. I look and smile at men.
You look and smile at men, or do you just post spicy content? And
I'm looking and smiling. What happened to men?
when was the last time you looked at a man, held your eye contact with him, and smiled?
It's been about 5 months.
Okay.
When you remove the incentive structure that drives a behavior, when you attach social punishment to it, legal risk to it, or cultural stigma to it, the behavior stops. That's not complicated. That's just how incentives work.
Why do you think men aren't approaching women anymore?
Why do you think what?
Men aren't approaching women
let me do this one. They're so full of themselves. They literally love themselves. Sorry. They're literally all up in your grill. They just think that like they're not that like no one wouldn't like them.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody likes you. Make us like you, and then we'll like you.
What can a guy do to make you like him?
Just be nice. How about being nice?
You don't like nice guys. Let's be honest.
No, how about like ask a gentleman?
A gentleman?
Ask questions and listen.
Okay.
Listen.
So someone who's attentive. Okay. Listen. Okay. A listener. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
One man's flirt, depending on how he looks and presents, is another man's sexual harassment.
Yes, yes.
And we are not doing a good job as women being able to explain why it's sexual harassment versus being an attractive opportunity. Men are frustrated. Men are not understanding what is the difference and why am I a threat if I'm being kind to you. So because of your behavior, women, I am now going to pull back my finances and resources. I'm now going to reduce my presence. I'm going to reduce my intentions, my efforts, because I don't want what my intentions are in terms of creating connection with you to be misconstrued as sexual harassment because you don't like how I look. I'm not your type.
The conversation we actually need more of is not about asking men to change. It's about asking the culture to be honest. And that honesty, when it shows up, is worth acknowledging. Because the goal here isn't men versus women. That framing is lazy and it keeps everyone losing. The goal is clarity.
Your niceness is turning her off. And before you get defensive, hear me out. Welcome back to 14 Days and 14 Dating Tips to get you a Valentine. Here's the deal. When I say niceness, I don't mean kindness. I mean agreeableness. Niceness is really just people-pleasing with better branding. Kindness, respect, human decency, chivalry, those are all attractive, but niceness, which is people-pleasing and over-agreeableness, that is not attractive. And this is why we have the saying that nice guys finish last, because niceness isn't just kindness. Niceness often comes with unspoken expectations. So let me break it down for you. Nice often means saying yes when you really mean no, agreeing with anything anyone else says just to be liked, and showing up without boundaries or a backbone. Showing up like that in dating often leads to a very flat and uninteresting dynamic. This form of niceness isn't really kindness, it's actually fear in disguise. When you're overly nice, you're not showing the woman that you're interested in who you really are. You're showing her who you think she wants. So because you want her and you want to be chosen by her, you're acting out of this fear and need for approval. And she can sense this quiet message underneath your behavior that says, I don't know who I am, and I need you to like me. And that energy makes her feel like she has to take care of you or then step up and be the leader in the dynamic. And that's the opposite of what a woman in her healthy feminine wants. She doesn't want a yes man and she doesn't want to lead. She wants a man that she can trust to lead her so that she can soften into her feminine energy. And when she sees a man without boundaries who will do anything to try to make her happy, even at the expense of himself, while she might benefit in the moment, she also loses respect. Because she then can't follow or trust a man to protect her if he can't even protect himself. If she's here and she gets everything she desires without boundaries, pushback, or alternative opinions, it gets boring. You've lost the dynamic. You need equal and opposite energies to help create excitement, attraction, and magnetism within the relationship. So to go from the nice guy who always gets friend zoned to the man she actually desires, you need opinions, you need boundaries. Say what you want while keeping it kind without apology. And respect yourself enough to walk away if the energy and interest isn't mutual. She doesn't want a nice guy, she wants a kind guy, one who treats her well and also knows himself and can stand up for himself. So it's not about being colder, tougher, mean, or the bad boy. It's about being real, because authenticity is magnetic. And the goal is never to be chosen for how accommodating or self-abandoning you are. It's to be chosen for who you actually are. And that is what builds real, lasting connection. My name's Dr. Lily. I'm here to help you create healthy and aligned relationships. Follow for more healthy dating and relationship advice.
If you are a man watching this video and you have stopped approaching, stopped engaging, and stopped putting yourself out there, I'm not here to tell you that's wrong. Understanding the environment is smart. Protecting your reputation is smart. Being selective with your time and energy is smart. But I want to make sure you're checking out of the chaos, not checking out of life.